Hello and welcome to Theorycraft with Anders. The first episode that actually has a name, and the name was chosen basically because that's what we do here. Theory crafting, which by definition is a little bit of a futile exercise when it comes to Counter-Strike, because the gap between theory and actual gameplay is pretty damn huge. But it's fun to do, and sometimes it will spawn a discussion, sometimes it'll, there'll be a lot of feedback. A lot of you guys have already given me cool feedback all over the place, so if nothing else, it's good for that, and I enjoy doing it, so I'll keep doing it. Today we're going to be looking at train, and we're also going to be moving forward and looking a little bit at what's called a jump script, and that's important because it's essential to throwing a bunch of the smokes that we're going to be covering for the rest of this series, essentially. This is what it is, the jump throw bind. It has two aliases, and then you bind the first one to a button, and that's the button you use to throw smokes within the future. All it really allows you to do is to make sure that your smokes are going to be perfect pretty much every time you throw them. That may not sound like a lot, but it definitely is. It makes a big difference, and I'll show you exactly why. So line yourself up anywhere, doesn't really matter. My mouse is going to stay in the exact same spot, and I'll throw one grenade, I'll throw the next one, and one more after that. May seem like all of these are more or less the same, but the fact is they obviously go in three different curves. So suppose one of these smokes was going to be a smoke for, between the bomb train and the second train here. If I wanted to throw that smoke, then the first two ones are going to be completely useless, right? So if this is a key part of my strategy, I want to make sure it's completely perfect, right? The jump throw script will allow me to do that. It will make sure that it's 100% perfect every time. Again, it doesn't really matter where I'm looking at the ground. I just want to show you guys that as long as my crosshair doesn't change, it'll be exactly the same. And that one even goes into the skybox, so it's even better. Doesn't really matter. The whole point is you can see this is just one line. There's no multiple lines. So obviously there is, but they're all on top of each other. So that's what it is. Just allows you to do the exact same thing over and over again. It's pretty powerful, and you could always just, have a debate, a discussion about whether or not it should even be allowed in tournaments and stuff, because it does give you a really big advantage. But I think it's really cool as well. It does allow for a lot more precise, almost sort of surgical gameplay. But at the same time, scripts have a way of getting out of hand. They start off being really simple modifications of the game, and then over time they become worse and worse and worse until they just, completely overpower everything. Hopefully that doesn't happen this time, and we can keep our jump script and have fun with it, but you never know. That's the first part of the video. The next part, we're going to be talking about a particular strat that actually doesn't have much to do with competitive gaming at all, or probably won't. It's a little bit silly. I tried to convince some of the pro teams to use it. I tried to explain. I told a bit to Gobby from Mouse Sports and told him, you're going to try and use this, but he wasn't completely convinced. And I'll tell you why, but I wanted to do this video anyway because I think it's really just it's a funny video, and I'll show you this jump as well. You can get the jump over here. So cool, isn't it? Okay, either way, what we want to do is we want to create a strategy where two people are either pushing out main or they're pushing out Ivy, and creating a bit of noise, trying to be distracting. They're also going to throw a couple of flashbangs because the other three people on the team are going to be running from Pop Dog all the way into C connector. But Anders, how are they going to get there without getting shut down? Well, that's the whole point of the strategy. We are going to throw a line of smokes, 5 smokes, in fact, to cover the whole stretch here. Sounds silly because it is, but it's still going to be fun. The first one on the line is going to be thrown from all the way back here, looking into the ground and lining up with the sort of the shadow, the frame of the tile right there. Looking up at the top bar, and then you go for the jump throw. That's why it's so valuable, because it's going to hit every single time. Goes in and lands right there. So I'm just going to shoot at the ground so I know exactly where it lands. I can show you guys later how it all works in perfect replay. This smoke is meant to land like this because I want people who are holding this position to have to move. I don't want them to stay here. I don't want them to just take a side step. I want them to move all the way back here if necessary, and preferably, who's going to be holding back here. I want them to move far away, basically, so that they're covering somewhere else. It's not the perfect smoke. I think the perfect smoke for connector will probably land right here, but it's really hard for some reason to find one that lands there. It actually took me a long time to find one that lands there, because they all seem to want to go here, or they fall all the way back here. It's very confusing, and I decided to not spend any more time on it. One day I'll find one that does this, or you guys will, and you'll show me. That's not the main focus. This one will do for now. Following up that one, the other one that's thrown outside from T-spawn is in this corner. Just wedge yourself in, then look towards the container right here, and then you jump and you throw. So you're sort of lined up with the box and everything else here. Not that hard, really. And it bounces back there. So That is the last smoke. This is the first smoke in the sequence, and we're just going to be shooting at the round again, so we know exactly where we are. It doesn't have to be precise, just roughly. Following up from that one, we're going to go into the white holes up here, and we need to shoot out the window, obviously, otherwise it becomes really confusing. Looking into the ground, you line yourself up with the edge of these two tiles, then you stay crouched, and you look up towards this bar of the window. Then you do the normal throw, and then you look at the hand here, and I do the medium throw. So now I'm sort of, you know, I'm not doing a short throw, I'm not doing a long throw, I'm doing a medium throw, holding in both buttons at the same time for the primary and secondary throw. That is going to bounce all the way in, and will land... I guess that works. I actually wanted to go a little bit further, but I guess this time it wasn't feeling it. Should actually go a little bit further. Let me check that out again. I know this always looks really unprofessional when it doesn't work, but, you know, what can you do, right? Let's see if it's going to be better this time. Right, so I'm not sure what I messed up the first time around. I was probably just looking at the wrong angle. Either way, this is where it lands. Sorry about that, guys. So that's the second to last smoke. We need the last two, which are going to be thrown from over here. Now, as far as I'm aware, I haven't done any smokes from this area, but there are a whole bunch that are possible. Don't need to shoot out all the windows, but I just like doing it. These windows are super cool. I love them, and I wish, although it pretty would be overpowered, but I wish you could throw smokes from here into B, but there's a skybox. Otherwise, you know, look, if you could throw smokes in here, damn, this B bomb site would be easy to attack, but maybe that's the reason why you can't be a bit too overpowered. Either way, you can throw them into A, which is still super cool, and a topic that we're going to be covering so much. There's so many smokes that can be thrown from here that are going to be really valuable. You line yourself up against this wrinkle, this crack in the tiles right here, and the same crack, as you can tell, is the one over here. They're identical textures, basically. So just look into that one, stand up again, and then throw. You see there's like a little frame going on here. You throw right at the edge of that one. Nothing special, no jumping, no nothing. And it'll bounce down and land somewhere out here. And you can tell that they are spaced so that they sort of overlap. That's the whole point. Otherwise, this definitely doesn't work. Already questionable whether it will even when they do. So that's it. Now we just do the last one, which is going to be, as I said, to the identical texture over here instead. You can tell there's like the yellow bar there. Line yourself up. And then you see there's like a tiny square formed by the by all the wires that are up there. You throw at the top left corner of this square, just like that. Nothing much to it. Again, no jumping or anything. And as an added bonus, it'll land on the wall, which looks cool. And then it'll fall all the way back here. So you see why this one was a little bit too far back. It had to be a little bit further up. So again, I don't know why that messed up. So this is it. This is the last smoke of the sequence. Now I'm just going to wait for it to fade, because then I'll show you how they look and what it means to run through them, because that's not as hard as it seems, although hopefully it's hard for the CTs on the other side to try and shoot you when it happens. So first smoke is here. Second smoke is right there. Third smoke is going to be here. And the fourth one, fifth one, however you want to count it there. So there we do, you know, so a full snake of smokes. And if you come in through PopDog once you've thrown the smokes and run through, it's not that hard, because I'm just looking at the minimap to find out how to get there. And then I'm in connector. The last one actually faded as I got out, but usually you'll be all the way back here before you can see anything. So you're sort of jumping out of the smoke, and then you're in connector. And that's the whole point. That's all you need to do. A couple of additions need to be made here, though, because obviously if you put up these smokes and try and run through, someone out in this courtyard is going to shoot into the smokes, right? You know, someone who was holding here, if he just lines up and starts firing like this, well, then you're going to be having a really hard time. So you need a couple of teammates from out here to throw a couple of flashbangs in, right? They've already bought 2 smokes. My suggestion would be that they buy 2 flashbangs as well, and they're going to try and throw them over like this. And it's actually, instead of this angle, they're probably going to want to throw them like this, because that way you will have already made it out of PopDog, and that flashbang is going to be behind you somewhere, right? See up here, it's going to be somewhere behind you, which means you won't be at that flashed, and you can still keep running, and anyone outside here, it's going to stay flashed for a long time, hopefully. So that's the idea. 4 flashbangs that, you know, get timed pretty well so that they sort of overlap, and then you just need like 3 seconds, and then your teammates are going to be in connector, and it'll be good fun. Oh, microphone, what are you doing? Okay, following that, obviously you need to get into PopDog as well, because what if someone is holding back here? Don't want the whole strategy falling apart before it even really works, right? So just something that's been annoying me is how many pro teams don't seem to throw proper or sort of proper pop flashes into here, which I'm not sure why that is. It is a little bit tricky because if you just try and throw a pop flash, you know, if you just wanted to walk in like this, you could probably do that. Problem is, first of all, that one probably doesn't go, and maybe it goes just far enough down, but it still bounces off the wall twice, right? So a pro player could turn around once they hit the dink dink, and then they just turn around. So I wanted to come up with one that doesn't do that. It just falls down straight away. So you go into this corner, look into the ceiling right around here, and then just underhand throw, won't touch the wall anywhere, and stays airborne for very little time as well. Really hard to turn around for this one. You won't see it coming. And then, obviously, the guy that throws this initial smoke right here, he's going to be walking into the corner, throwing the pop flash. The two other people, while they've thrown their smokes, you know, on the count of 3, they run. Pop flash is already out. They just kind of keep going, and it hopefully is a great sequence. They keep going through the smoke, through the smoke, through the smoke, all the way into C connector. Once they get here, and they can do whatever they like, really. They could stick around and hope that someone from the CT side is going to come follow them, and then, you know, surprise, there's 3 people waiting. They could also keep running and backstab anyone who's over at B. Going to be a little bit tricky for someone holding back here to realize there's going to be 3 people running through. You need really good calls from your teammates. Or you could try and, you know, run in and then continue back to CT spawn. Guess you could run that way, or you could, oh, that's Bob, by the way. He's going to be helping me with the future tutorials. But you can keep running all the way back here. And if you took this route, which is obviously like the ultimate marathon matchmaking ridiculous style coming out here, if you keep running this way, I suggest that your 2 teammates that started off this whole plan spawning out here, that they're going to follow you and actually run this way and connect with you back at Ivy, right? So that you sort of meet up from CT spawn and you run back here. If they don't do that, and if you sort of want to actually stay in connector here, they could probably just run main to try and help you out. If you want to end up at B, I guess they could run all the way in the back line and end up back here somewhere as you're coming out. They'll be running down here and it'll be confusing, right? So the whole point is that there's 100 different variations, 100 different ways to do this. Some initial criticism I received from this video, I can't remember if I mentioned this, but I spoke to Goppy from Mouse Sports, and he said, well, one of the problems is you're going to be playing 5 people without any armor, which is absolutely true, right? The current metagame very much revolves around CT sides, buying a lot of armor to try and fight the USPS and have some pretty good aim fights, right? This one, you'll have no armor, which is a bit of a problem. I've come up with a variation of this strat, actually, that allows you to buy a couple of armors, and maybe I'll show you that in the future. But for now, this is pretty much all I wanted to show you guys, and I hope you enjoyed it. And again, there's going to be a lot more coming up soon. I've got a lot more lined up here. So thank you for watching. This was Theorycraft, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube either, so you will catch the future content that's coming up. But for now, have a good evening, and I'll see you soon.